Welcome to r/malicious compliance, where we share stories of people conforming to the letter, but not the spirit of a request. And today we have 3 great stories, so subscribe, hit the like button, and let's begin. The first story. Company thought older people were better than younger people, so I decided to leave. The second story. Karen and Ken refused to wear masks, threw fit when told to leave, asked for police and they promptly showed up. The third story. Now I can work 4 hours a week, collect my $100 and at exactly 1 in the afternoon, finish work and go home. The first story is, just worry about your work and not mine. This was my first job in manufacturing, making laser in my 20s. The company was hiring a bunch of folks so they could start a second shift to make the order deadline. Plus they had a new line coming into production, so they wanted senior staff on that, and the new folks on the older line. I was around the first new people to get hired. I'm not a dumb person and take pride in my work. I also like helping others because, well, I'm not a POS, but I'm also okay with letting people get what they deserve when they're not nice people. Anyway, a new guy gets hired to work next to me, and of course it's someone much older, late 50 to early 60, who worked at insert big company name here, and didn't need to be told by me when he was messing up. He would make obvious mistakes that to fix would require you to disassemble it to fix it if you caught it later. I would see him make these mistakes, and point them out to avoid the time needed later to take it apart and fix it. After a few times of pointing out his mistakes, he freaks out and says it was because of me that he was making these mistakes, and that I should just worry about my work. He was a classic boomer by all means of the negative term. Kids your age don't like to work. A, just not true. At your age, I had a house and wife and kids. A, tells me his house cost $36K when he bought it, while making like $60K a year. I tell him how I paid $26K for a used car while not even making $30K a year. I'm older, so I know better. A, I get that age gives experience, but it's not the be-all end-all for knowing stuff. Respect your elders. A, don't care about your age, gender, color, or whatever people use to be classified as. You earn respect. It's just not given at some age gap between two people. And now the malicious compliance. I eventually started working at the next step, where you filled the laser with gas and run it. The other guy built them and I ran them. Well, he was much slower in building them than I was. So naturally, we would have to wait. One day, I had no work and was told to just wait till he built the next laser for me. So I did. But here's the kicker. The step before him built it wrong. There were different features depending on the type of laser it was, and I could see that from a distance. Well, I waited over an hour for him to build his thing. He could see me and knew I was waiting on him. Finally, he finishes the laser and moves it to the shelf where I get them from. He doesn't say a word to me but looks right at me like, here you go, you can finally do some work. I stand up, grab a yellow failure sheet, and start filling it out. I walk over to the laser, put the sheet in there, and walk away. Mind you, he was watching me the whole time. He gets up, reads the paper, turns to me and goes, "You knew this was wrong the whole time, didn't you?" Which I replied, "I'm just minding my own business worrying about me." Another time, the lasers need water to cool them, and had hoses that were attached to the laser, and the other to a quick release end. We didn't have air in our area to purge the lasers, so we needed to bring them to another area to do so. This was important if they needed to be taken apart, because there would still be water in there under pressure. Well, my cell lead failed a laser, and just put it on the shelf to be taken apart. Now, I always would check the lines for water by pushing the nipple into a trash can, because it's a smart thing to do. Well, guess who didn't check when taking it apart? I got to watch water explode all over him as he took the water manifold apart. He turned to me, laughing of course, and goes, "You knew about this the whole time, didn't you?" To which I replied, "Again, I'm just worrying about me and minding my own business." He didn't see who failed the unit, so he immediately grabbed the sheet. I assumed to see if it was me, and try to get me in trouble, only to find out it was the cell lead, and couldn't do anything about it. Just because you're more than twice my age doesn't mean you know it all and can't make mistakes. The fallout. I got tired of working at a place that seemed to think older people were better than younger people, when every mistake was his and not mine. I got a different job. Edit. The same thing is basically happening at my current job. We just had a young kid leave who is, in my opinion, a good technician. He kept asking for a raise, and was told he didn't have enough experience. Meanwhile, the guy who sits next to him makes like $7 more an hour than him, is constantly asking him and others for help on things he should know how to test and fix. Also, you're right. This guy doesn't want to learn new stuff, comes in late, and has problems following simple policies. I have to constantly repeat myself to him. The younger kid told once, did it. Ask questions, good questions too, not questions about things he should know. I'm finding that not being able to discriminate based on age is BS. You just have to say, doesn't have enough experience, and boom, instant reason to pay someone younger less. Good story, OP. Age doesn't mean anything, and it certainly doesn't mean you're better, smarter, or more experienced than anyone else. I know what you're talking about. I had a degree in graphic design, and was hired by a computer company to help design and operate large pickup machines and large printing presses. At 22, I was probably the youngest person in the company. In a few weeks, I could tell what went wrong. I could point out to people how they were making mistakes, and I was told to shut up and mind my own business. I did. 280 cases of t-shirts with our print were ruined, and they asked why I didn't say something. Same answer. You told me to shut up and mind my own business. I ended up quitting that job and finding another much better one. One of the positives of my current job, young people ended up in higher positions because of their abilities. A guy in his 20s is a shop supervisor supervising 3 to 4 sections of the factory. Another shop supervisor is in his 40s. Both of them are excellent. The next story is, you want the police? You got it. This happened about a month ago, and while I wasn't actually a participant, I did get front row seats, literally, to witnessing this go down. I was in New York with my family, and one of the things we love to do is see Broadway plays. Our final play we got to see was Jersey Boys. Now you got to understand one thing about plays in NYC right now. You have to sign a waiver saying you'll wear a mask the entire show, except to take a drink or eat. You also sign something that says to get into the theater, you have to show proof of vaccination and ID. That's just to receive your tickets. So going into the theater, you already knew that this was the case. So my family had the pleasure of sitting behind an older couple. Let's call them Karen and Ken, because yep, as soon as the production started, they ripped off their masks. 3 times the ushers had to come and tell them to put their masks back on. The second time was pretty memorable, because Karen loudly yelled, "What?" when the usher told her to please put her mask back on and wear it properly, and then she shoved her hand in her face and said, "Go away and leave me alone." Again pretty loudly, and as soon as she left again, the mask came down. Side note, I didn't see this, but my mom also them taking pictures of the play and maybe videos. So intermission comes around. They were muttering to themselves about if they come and tell us to put our D masks on one more time. At that moment, security, and who I presume was the manager, came over and said, "Gather your things. We need to have a talk." Now, because the manager came unrequested, I don't think Karen liked that. Karen, why should we? We haven't done anything wrong. Ma'am, we're not going to have this talk out here. Please gather your stuff and come with me. Karen, I have no problem having this talk out here. Why do we need to talk? Ken, if it's the masks, we've had them on the entire show. That's not what I was told. To keep things short, it went back and forth like this for a while. Karen and Ken insisting they wore their masks. Security and the manager insisting on taking this outside. And then Karen said the magic words. "If you want us to leave, you'll have to get the police. Otherwise, we're staying here." Ken, yeah, that's right. Get the police. The manager was gone for maybe 2 seconds. He came back in with 2 of New York's finest and responded, "Ma'am, you got your wish. The police are here. Now grab your stuff. We need to go." At that moment, they finally begrudgingly grabbed their stuff and started to leave. Everyone started applauding them out. Karen then yelled, "Ask anyone. We had them on the whole time." To which the man behind us yelled back, "No, you didn't." My parents did have a chuckle at that one. It was really nice to watch the entire second act of a truly fantastic show peacefully. If I had a problem wearing a mask, I wouldn't go to the show. In my area, professional and semi-professional theaters require proof of vaccination, or you won't go in and wear a mask during the show, or you're out. Public theaters only require a mask, including all staff backstage as well as the audience. I have trouble wearing a mask because it causes something in my upper respiratory system. I've tried several types of masks, so I got the vaccine and just don't go where it's required. Your story reminded me of the time I went to the movie theater. It's about a guy who was removed from the movie theater because he was talking on the phone. The funny thing was that the man was called out by another man. Because he was peeved as he was leaving, he threw his Coke to the man, who was asking him to kick him out, but he missed so badly that he hit the other man. Then this man, soaked in Coke, gets up and punches him with his fist. It was so much fun. The last story is, District Manager got exactly what he asked for. I'm a pharmacy tech, and was employed by an independently owned company that got purchased by a huge company that victimizes society. Because I'm basically a W, go places I generally don't want to go, do stuff I generally don't want to do, with people I generally don't want to do it with for money, I'll work extra shifts pretty much any time. After I was sold as a full-time tech, I was sent to new work locations that hadn't had a tech in over a year, so I agreed to work pretty much all day every day for the OT pay. By the time COVID hit, I was averaging close to 80 hours a week. The money was good and so was some of the staff. Then COVID and some health conditions hit. My doctor wrote orders that I be off work for an extended period of time. Since I was full-time, I put in a leave, took the time off and stayed home to heal up so I could return. HR didn't like the document my doctor provided, so sent him a multi-page form to fill out. They wanted specific answers to things like exactly when I could return to work. He told them there was no way to know, and refused to fill out their multi-page forms. I got better, returned to my 80-ish hours a week, and worked as normal until HR notified me that my leave had been denied, and since my weekly average had now dropped below 30, I was part-time, cutting all my benefits basically in half. I talked to the DM about it and he ignored the issue. Then he got himself fired, so I talked to his replacement, who did allegedly look into it, but came back with, "There's nothing we can do. You'll just be part-time until June when your average hours will put you back at full-time." I asked him a couple times just to confirm that I'm now part-time, half benefits, working 60 to 80 hours a week, and he confirmed that I am indeed part-time. So I looked around the local job market and found a much better paying job, in a non-competitive location that has weekends off. I can work 40 hours there, have time off in between the pay increase and reduced travel distance, be pretty close to the same income. I took the new job. But since the DM said I was part-time, I gave him exactly what he said. I didn't leave the company that victimizes society. I just made my availability a couple Saturdays a month, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. I'm still the only tech assigned to that location. I'm just part-time now, exactly as he decreed. Edit. The title was district manager, and I figured people would extrapolate DM from that. Yes, I could sue, go through a bunch of crap and maybe win. Or I could go in for 4 hours a week, collect my $100, plus the extra they pay for stock purchase, 401k, other benefits, and promptly at 1 p.m. clock out and go home. Line out the door, 200 scripts to fill, 10 people need shots. Sorry, I'm only part-time now, so I'm off. I'm the only licensed technician assigned to the store. There's a junior management person with a license, but all she knows how to do is count meds. Limited insurance knowledge, limited inventory knowledge, less than a year of pharmacy experience. I'm not irreplaceable, obviously, but a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff isn't happening. These stores put a lot of stock in customer surveys. Saturday surveys talk about how glad the customer was that Jaeger was there. The other days ask where Jaeger is. Those customers know exactly what happened and support my decision, as do most of my coworkers. I could quit, but why? I see people I like. I eat some free pizza. I make $100 plus add to retirement. I add to my knowledge. Plus I get despairing calls and texts from district leadership, and occasionally higher, asking me to please stay over and help, or please come in and help. And I get to tell those people, nope, management decided to make me part-time, so this is my availability now. Now he has a real job, and he can moonlight from the part-time job that used to be his real job, until he got effed, if and when he felt like it. The original job depended on him a lot more than the show, so now they're screwed until they can find and train a replacement, which isn't always easy to do with skilled workers. Thank you for watching. Be sure to subscribe, hit the like button, and have a good day.